My name is David Jaffe. Welcome to the Wealth and Health Podcast, where you'll learn valuable skills and positive habits that will improve your life. This podcast originally aired as a video on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/beststockstrategy. The Wealth and Health Podcast is brought to you by beststockstrategy.com. This is a review of Trade and Travel with Teri. I would be extremely surprised if she made any money by trading, because the scientific research indicates that day traders lose money and the traders that don't end up earning less than minimum wage. She tells her followers that you can target and earn 1% a day. To me, that's completely crazy. You should just take your money and flush it down the toilet, or you should just go to a casino, because at least it's going to be much more efficient. Because considering that you're likely to lose money by day trading or by buying options, then at least if you go to the casino or you blow your money, it's going to be faster and less heart-wrenching, because you're not going to have the expectation that you're actually going to make money. Now, she encourages her students to engage in very low probability trades with a negative expectancy. Every single time you day trade, you have a negative expectancy, and buying options, every single time you make that trade, it has a negative probability of profit. But look, don't take my word for it. I highly recommend that you email tom@tastytrade.com or tony@tastytrade.com. Tastytrade is a firm that does independent research on the stock market. Tom Sosnoff is probably worth around $500 million. Email Tom Sosnoff and ask him what your probability is of being consistently profitable by day trading, and also ask him what he believes your probability of being a consistently profitable trader by buying options. In my opinion, he's going to tell you that the likelihood of you being consistently profitable and making even 1 penny by day trading or buying options is pretty close to 0%. And as the scientific research indicates, there is no learning component to day trading, because every single time you make that trade, you are expected to lose money. So again, don't take my word for it. Email Tom Sosnoff, he's worth about $500 million, and ask him what he believes your probability is of earning 1% a day by buying options. In my opinion, I would be shocked if he told you that you had even a 1% chance of making 1% a day, because in my opinion, the likelihood of you making 1% a day by buying options is 0%. As I said, in my opinion, I believe that Teri from Trade and Travel does not make any money by day trading or by buying options. In my opinion, I believe that she's a losing trader. I would love to subpoena her trading statements. And I also believe that her students are going to lose money, because she is encouraging and teaching her students to engage in low probability trading that has a negative expected profit for every single time you trade. So in my opinion, the likelihood that you're going to make even 1 penny from learning Teri's system is close to 0%. In fact, if you are able to make 1% a day by day trading or buying options, then send me your last 3 trading statements. And if you trade with a legitimate brokerage using real money, then I will send you $1,000, as long as you show your last 3 trading statements and it shows that you trade every single day by buying options or day trading, and that you've been profitable every month over the past 3 months.
Hey guys, Teri here from Untitled.com. Hey y'all, yesterday my friend told me that somebody with $3.5 million made $8,000 return in 2019 on their dividends. And my immediate first thought was, what? This person had $3.5 million and all they made was $8,000 last year? Like, that sucks. That's not a good investment. So like in my strategy, and I know I'm partial, but in my strategy, we're trying to make 1% of our cash amount a day. So if somebody has $3 million, like 1% is like $30,000 a day. Why in the world is this person trying to make, like, excited about $8,000? So this is what I want to tell you guys. If you're trying to figure out if someone is a good trader, and I know like I said, I'm partial. I'm not like, this is not long-term investing. I'm not a dividend investor. I'm a trader. I'm a day and swing trader, and I'm trying to make a return on my cash amount every single day. If you're trying to figure out if someone's a good trader, then you need to look at their percent returns, because you have one person over here with $3.5 million.
I would say that the probability that any of her followers make 1% a day consistently is virtually 0%. In fact, I believe that almost all of her followers lose money, because by day trading or by buying options, every single trade that you make has a negative expectancy. Every single time you buy options, you have a negative expectancy. Every single strategy that I have seen that she's teaching you, whether it be day trading or buying options, has a negative probability of profit, and in my opinion is going to cause you to lose money, not earn 1% a day, which in my opinion is completely outrageous. I actually believe that not only are you not going to earn 1% a day, but I believe that you're actually going to end up losing money by buying options and by day trading.
If I have somebody that has $2,000 and they turn that $2,000 into $10,000, they've made $8,000. That's a 500% return on their investment. They started with $2,000, they doubled it one time. That's 100% return. They got to $4,000, and then they doubled it again. That $4,000 turned into $8,000. So now they've doubled it again. Like, that type of trader, that's the person that I would want to trade my money, even though that person would come and say, oh, well, I've only made $8,000 this year. But their return on investment is huge because they started with something small and now it's bigger. So,
all right, my comments on this is that I believe that that's completely false, because if someone's able to turn $2,000 into $10,000, then they got lucky, because the likelihood of that happening is extremely small. In fact, most people who start with a $2,000 account, and even if they try to turn it into $10,000, then they're taking significantly too much risk, and there's a very high probability that they're going to end up losing all their money. So for Teri to say that she wants an individual who turned $2,000 into $10,000 to manage money or to be able to trade with that person, I think that that's extremely short-sighted, because it doesn't take into account that if an individual is able to turn $2,000 into $10,000, then it's all luck, and they're not going to be able to replicate that process. In fact, I wouldn't even want anyone who turned $2,000 into $10,000 to touch my money, because it means that they're taking way too much risk and they're trying to hit home runs. And there's an extremely high probability that in the future, they're going to end up blowing up their account.
Tries to grade how good they are and how much they made, because you don't know how much they started with. For example, people come to me all the time, they're like, Teri, do you make more on your trading or your courses? Dude, in my trading, I made 300% return on my investment this year versus the market that usually does like an 8 to 10% return. So I'm a phenomenal trader. But
let me guess, she doesn't show her full trading statement, because unless she's front running her followers, which again, I don't believe she's doing, then the likelihood that she made 300% 2 years ago is virtually 0%. Additionally, I would love to subpoena her trading statements, because in my opinion, I believe she's lying.
Let's provide some feedback.
Count like a simulator, and the answer is no. I did practice with 30,000 in my simulator, and I mastered the trading travel techniques. But when I transitioned to my live account, I had $500 in my live account.
Okay, so here he's claiming that he had $500 in his live account because he heard that you need 30,000. And then let's see what else he says.
And I recently shared with Teri that through that time period of me starting trading live, it's probably a little bit more now, but I increased my account by 1,200%. And just by starting with the simple steps of going long, I remember my first trade was a Visa gap trade, and I was like, this thing is
Okay, so his first trade was Visa.
forever, but it failed and it broke through, and I was like, oh my God, this is real. And then I slowly graduated to, I was able to sell sell a call on Beyond Meat, and it just took off like a skyrocket, and I got to keep all the premium.
All right, so that doesn't really make sense. First of all, whenever you sell options, you collect all the premium regardless, and you get to keep it unless you close it out early. The second thing is that if you sell a call on Beyond Meat, then you don't want it to take off like a rocket, because then the call option that you sold for X amount of dollars is then going to show you a loss, because when you buy it back, it's going to be challenging that short strike that you sold, and therefore it's going to show you a loss. So for a guy who's claiming that he made like 1,200%, either he's using the wrong terminology or he's just inaccurate in what he's claiming. Again, if you sell a call option, you want the underlying stock to either stay where it is or to go down or to not challenge that call strike. But if it went up tremendously like a rocket, like he's claiming, then unfortunately you're actually going to lose money on that position.
And so all these terms you get to learn in VIP, and it's like a second nature. I was sharing with Nina earlier today.
Okay, so now he's claiming that the terms are second nature, but he doesn't understand what selling a call actually encompasses. Because if you sell a call and then the stock and the underlying that you sold the call on takes off like a rocket, you actually lose money.
I can't even believe myself when I'm talking because these terms and this lingo and this verbiage, I had no idea of it in June. And so it's an ongoing process. It's a long journey. And I'm still learning to this very day. And I did mention like my expertise was selling verticals on the S&P. And through my research, pairing it with Teri's method, I learned that selling on the market is merely like the house in Vegas. The house almost wins every time. And so what I was doing, I was just being very patient, and I was going in with a strategy, and slowly but surely I was seeing my account day after day after day just end with profit. And I didn't even like realize how much my account was growing until I just, wait a minute, all that's in my account. And then slowly once I had enough in my account, I was able to switch my strategy from selling to buying. And that's when I was able to get my biggest profitable trade, which was $10,000. Because remember, I started with $500.
Buying options always has a negative expectancy because the actual volatility is almost always going to be less than the expected volatility. So basically, when you buy options, you're gambling. And yes, it is true that if you buy options and you do win your trades, then the amount that you win is going to be larger than the premium that you paid. But over time, you will lose money by buying options.
Another question that I often receive is, how much does it cost to take your class? So for my classes, the intro course starts at $2,000, and then the VIP program starts at $5,000. And why that price? Because if I teach you how to make just $200 a day, that's an extra $1,000 a week. And if we include holidays, that's $48,000 a year. So the VIP program is $5,000. That includes all of my stock courses from intro to advanced, and you get personal coaching from me. And then the intro class, the trade and travel, my flagship program, is $2,000, and you get the first 4 classes, which is intro to the stock market, risk management, chart analysis, because I really think you need to know how to read charts in order to trade, and then some advanced strategies to take you to the next level.
Right, but the issue is that the likelihood that you're going to make $200 a day is virtually 0%. And in fact, from buying options and day trading, the likelihood that you're actually going to lose money is probably close to around 100%. So what would I estimate as the likelihood that you're going to earn $200 a day? I would put that at close to 0%.
Focus on the stock price moving, right? And then a little piece of it too, just so you guys know, is volatility. And a little while ago, I did a video on why not to trade during earnings. And for professional traders, like, they love trading during earnings. So I know, Mark, you're gonna be like, you should trade. What are you talking about? Why are you telling that? But the thing is, during earnings season, those premiums are really inflated because of volatility too. So that means they're really expensive. It's kind of like the difference between buying Pringles at the airport versus buying Pringles at the grocery store. Like, Pringles are only 99 cents. But when you get to the airport, they charge you $8. So anytime that there's a lot of volatility, those premiums are gonna be really inflated and really expensive for no reason. Like, right after earnings, they're gonna lose value.
Okay, so volatility is not a little thing. Volatility is something that you definitely have to understand if you want to be a successful and profitable trader. Additionally, this is the precise reason why you should sell option premium, because the expected move is almost always more than the actual move. So when you're buying options, like I said previously, every single trade that you made has a negative expectancy. And that's why you should sell options, and she's admitting it herself, even though she's not directly saying it. You should sell options instead of buying options. She said that volatility is going to be inflated for no reason. That's completely not true. The reason why volatility is higher is because there's a future expectation that prices are going to be more volatile than they were previously. So it's not for no reason. People aren't buying put options because they want to. The reason why they're buying put options is because there's a future expectation that there's going to be increased volatility in the market or in that specific underlying.
Phenomenal trader, but it depends how much I start with. So in my account, I usually trade with about 25,000. My sweet spot is like 25,000 to 30,000. So this year I made about over 6 figures return on my investments, which means I made 300% return on my portfolio that starts with just a $25,000 amount. Growing that to 6 figures is huge.
Yeah, I would say that the probability that she did that is virtually 0%. And I don't believe that she shares any of her trading statements. And again, I'll repeat it. These are very dangerous because if someone were to actually subpoena her trading records, then she would probably be shut down.
So if any of her students have made 1% a day over a 3-month period by trading every single day, then I will gladly send you a free $1,000. Please send me your full trading statements from a legitimate brokerage over the last 3 months. And as long as you trade every single day and you average 1% a day, then I will send you $1,000. Now, in my opinion, I believe that if you try to earn 1% a day, then you're going to end up losing money, especially when you're engaging in very low probability trades like day trading or buying options. But again, maybe I'm wrong. So if anyone out there who was one of her students has earned 1% a day, then please send me your last 3 trading statements. And as long as you average 1% a day over 3 months by trading every single day, then I will gladly send you a free $1,000. That's like encouraging a single mom with kids to go to the casino and gamble. You have a better chance of going to sleep tonight and not waking up tomorrow than you do of earning 1% a day. In my opinion, this is extremely sociopathic behavior. A single mom with 2 kids working a 9 to 5 in debt, and you're encouraging her to engage in self-destructive behavior. Don't believe me? No problem. Email tom@tastytrade.com or tony@tastytrade.com. They spend millions of dollars a year running research studies, and they trade options as well, just like Teri's quote-unquote advanced class, where she charges you $5,000. So email them. They'll respond to you and ask them about your chances of earning 1% a day by day trading.
However much you pay for those contracts, you got to be willing to lose it all, because there is a chance that whole amount you spent will be gone.
100%.
Right. That's completely accurate. Where buying options is like gambling. So if you buy options, you should expect to lose money.
I really worry about that beta, or what we like to call time decay. And so at that point in time, now it's really working in your favor. And so now what I do is, as my strategy is, I typically play anywhere from, I'll sometimes play year-long positions depending on what's available there. But then I mostly play the 2-year-long positions. And then throughout the 2 years, I'm literally hedging against myself.
I was going to say, okay, so as you have this 2-year option, are you selling shorter term ones against it, or are you?
I'm definitely shorting against my own long-term positions. So I'll play a short-term put against my 2-year-long position. And I probably do that maybe 3 times a year, or sometimes even, maybe just twice a year, depending on what the year looks like. But I mean, any capital or any profits that I'm losing to the downside, I'm gaining in that put as I'm betting against myself on the downside. So then I can use that to retool into my position to add more contracts, or to add leverage and find another position to bring.
I definitely agree with this guy. If you are going to buy leaps, and I'm definitely not a fan of buying options, as I've said, but if I was forced to buy leaps, then I would go about 6 to 12 months out, potentially even 2 years. And then in order to compensate myself and to recoup some of that extrinsic time premium that I paid for that long option, then I would definitely sell options against my long call position in order to decrease the amount of money that I paid for that call option. So definitely, if you are going to buy leaps, then I would highly recommend listening to what this guy's recommending and selling options against that position.
It's a heartbreaker story.
Mm-hmm. So what do you do then, or what do you suggest to people to protect their risk?
So first things first, to protect your risk. I mean, try the very best you can not to play short term, because a lot of folks try to play short term, and the thing is, I don't think nobody's even perfect as it pertains to timing the market. The market doesn't go off of anybody else's time. It's led by billions of people that are trading at any point in time. And so, when you play these 2-week or 1-week long positions, I mean, you're putting yourself at the ultimate high risk. I like to say that most traders typically go by what we call a risk reward ratio of about 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. And so if you're playing, say, for example, those 2-week long positions or those short-term trades, so anywhere from a week to a month, you're pretty much at high risk. The further out that you start to play positions, the less risk that you take on. The best positions and the best strategy that I can always say is play the long term, anywhere from 6 months out all the way to, say, for example, 2 years out. And that's the furthest that an option contract can go, 2 years. Yeah. And when you play that far out, then you substantially decrease your risk. Now, of course, it also comes into consideration where you pick your strike price and all these other things, but still your risk is significantly lower in comparison to trying to time the market and playing, say, for example, very short-term positions. So that's one of the significant ways that you can you can literally decrease your risk substantially.
And it's because of time value, right? So for those.
All right, so I actually agree with him. I agree with him in everything that he said, where the first thing he said that it's virtually impossible to time the market, and there are so many different factors that go into the price of an underlying stock. So essentially what he's saying there is that reading charts and technical analysis and day trading does not work. Now, Teri claims to be a day trader, but this guy, I definitely appreciate his honesty, and I also agree with him where there's so many different factors where I would say that the likelihood that you're going to be a profitable day trader is virtually 0%. Secondarily, I do believe that even though I am not someone who buys options with the expectation or hope of making any money from it, I believe that if there is a way to decrease your risk and to potentially increase your chances of making money by buying options, then I definitely do believe that buying leaps and going far out is your best strategy, especially if you're buying it on a quality stock with a strong brand. And the reason for that is the stock market has a positive upward drift. So if you're buying call options that are long dated and they're 1 to 2 years out or even 6 months out, and you're buying it on a solid stock that's potentially oversold, that has a strong brand, then I would say that your probability of making money on that call option is decent.
So let me show y'all my homework. All right. Remember, Teri has overview. Okay, seen on all these news outlets that which can be bought. Remember that all of this can be bought, pay to play. Doesn't mean they're credible necessarily. Okay. Let's try it with Thomas Few. Okay. Right click. Search image with Google Lens. Let's fix that real quick. Right here, baby. Right here. We have Derek Williams. We have Tom Few. We have, Bianca Coates, James Jones. Who else do we have? Tim Russell. There is no consensus image, or name, I should say, for this image. Why is that? With over 7,000 students? Now, sounds kind of fishy to me. I'm just saying.
So I actually was in the education field for about 10 years. I went to MIT for undergrad, and they kind of give you two options. You can either go into Wall Street or you can go into consulting. And I interned on Wall Street, which is actually how I first started knowing about investing. I interned at Morgan Stanley on Wall Street. But I said, well, I don't want to be cooped up in a building all day, so I'm going to go into consulting. And it turns out one of our clients was Teach for America. So that led me into this whole trajectory of like, well, I want education equality for students and kids. And my last job was an assistant principal of an elementary school. But that whole time, to supplement my income, I traded on the side.
So she's playing up the fact that she worked in education to gain your trust. But also, if you remember Raging Bull, Jason Bond was a gym teacher, and his firm was charged with running a $137 million fraud scheme.
So there's a couple myths that I think really hold people hostage. So one thing when I think about investing, one myth is, oh, it's a gamble. You can't time the market, so I'm not going to do it because it's a gamble. But actually, so you think about me, like I'm coming from like a numbers MIT background. You actually can create formulas for everything. So the way that I teach my students, we actually can decide, we can figure out the probability of a trade before we even take it. So you think about me, like I'm coming from like a numbers MIT background. You actually can create formulas for everything. So the way that I teach my students, we actually can decide, we can figure out the probability of a trade before we even take it. And then when you know what your probability is, hey, this one's going to be 75% successful, it's not a gamble anymore.
So if she's talking about probabilities, then in order to have a 75% probability profit, then you would have to sell an option that is about a 1 standard deviation below the current market price. But she teaches day trading and buying options. And every single time you day trade and every single time you buy options, your probability of profit is below 50%.
So would you be considered like a day trader?
Yep, I day and swing trade, which means day trading is just if I get into a position, so if I get into a stock today and I sell it in the same day, that's day trading. But if I get in today and I sell it within 2 days or even a week or a couple months from now, that's swing trading. So I do both because I'm a technical analysis trader, so I'm looking at charts and I'm looking at where are the banks buying on the chart and where are the banks selling. And it just depends how quickly it gets from one level to the next. If it gets into a place where banks are buying today and reaches the sell point today, I'll get out in one day. But if it takes a couple weeks, then I'll let it stay for a couple weeks. But the overall goal is when I was a teacher or when I was an assistant principal at elementary, I needed $300 a day to replace my income. Yes, and even if they are working out, take your money and run so you can go to the Bahamas or something fun.
So what does it take for someone on average to get started?
So the starting is $500 just to get that account open. And then our goal is 1% of our cash amount per day. That's what we're teaching. Small, little wins add up to big wins. And people don't realize if you're making 1% a day, it sounds small, but in 5 months you can double your whole portfolio. And then depending on how often you want to trade, like you don't have to trade every day like I do. If you have the skill set, whenever you're ready, you can start generating more income with that cash.
And how did you deal with the doubters and any of the time that you may have even doubted yourself?
To be completely honest, like I'm a big faith and believer girl, so I just had to pray myself through because even until probably a few months ago, my mom was like, you sure you don't want to get a side hustle? You sure you don't want to be a substitute teacher? And I'm like, Mommy, I make 7 figures. But she just like, sometimes she just couldn't fathom like in the fear, you don't have health insurance. Like, well, so I just really had to pray like, Lord, it's me and you. Like, let's do this. Like, I'm going to just step out on faith and I hope you got me. and he has proven himself to be true.
Oh, beautiful. Points of wisdom out of everything you shared with us or anything that we might have missed. For those thinking about trading who are already trading, what would that be?
Get educated first, take a course. I, of course, recommend my course, my Trade and Travel course, but take a course because when you just jump in without knowledge, that's when you'll start losing. So get educated.
Visit beststockstrategy.com and submit your email address to receive valuable free training. Please give this podcast a positive rating and review. If you have any questions, visit beststockstrategy.com and send me a message.